Okay, so today people are hating on the red pill, and yet they keep proving it right. This is Abba and Preach. I think Abba is the slightly taller one and Preach is the shorter one. They like to trash on red pill because in their minds, the entirety of red pill is basically Fresh and Fit and maybe one or two other content creators. They don't dive very deep into it, but boy, are they very quick to hate on the entire movement. And in this video, I chopped up one of their latest videos. I chopped it up for time and I sped it up a little bit. They actually are proving our point. They even use a graph, the hypergamy graph that we use in so many of our, and when I say our, I'm talking about men's channels and guys that talk about this kind of stuff. They use the images that we use to prove our point. And so they come out and they rag on us and hate on us, and then they turn around and they say, well, they don't say this, but they're going to have to admit eventually that we're right. And the other story I'm going to do, and I'm going to chop this into 2 videos for YouTube because YouTube seems to really like daily uploads. And when I don't do a daily upload or an every other day and I take a couple days off, they hate on me something horrible. All right, before we jump into the main story, again, let me run a quick spot by our sponsor. I really appreciate these sponsors taking care of me and you guys taking care of them because it means we can get away from the necessary ad revenue on YouTube. And again, if you're on YouTube, get over to Rumble or Locals. As you guys know, I do a weekly movie night where we stream popular movies or we do UFC fight nights, and I drink for donations. Oftentimes, this leaves me off my game for the following day or two, making it hard to find motivation to work out or even do my regular content for this channel. Well, Z-Biotics, maker of the world's first genetically engineered probiotic, asked if I'd try their pre-alcohol probiotic drink, which is surprisingly effective. Pre-alcohol is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to drink this probiotic before drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, and get a good night's sleep to feel your very best tomorrow. I take 1 drink before drinking on movie nights, and I feel great the next day. So stay in the loop and go to zbiotics.com/betterbachelor. You can also scan the QR code on the screen right now to get 15% off your first order when you use Better Bachelor at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription using my code, so you can stay prepared no matter the time or occasion. Z-Biotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/betterbachelor and use the code BetterBachelor at checkout for 15% off. Thanks to Z-Biotics for sponsoring this episode and sponsoring our good times. And now back to me. Okay, so let's jump into this. I've chopped up their video a little bit. And again, this is Fresh and Fit. And the first segment here they're going to be talking about, and I'm just going to paraphrase so you can hear them saying it, even though they don't put it in the words we put it in. They're referring to these women, and these women they're not bad looking. I'd say they're probably, 7s or 8s, probably 6s without makeup, because that's how most women go. They're a little better than mid women, and they're complaining that they're having to date guys that are mid guys. A 7 woman has the expectation of dating a 10. In reality, she's dating a 7, but she thinks they're a 4 because that's kind of how we are right now, that if women aren't bagging the top men, they're settling for everything else. Well, Abba and Preach kind of dunk on this a little bit, but they're agreeing with us.
You are a 4 at best.
Guys aren't meant to see this many hot bitches.
Back in the olden days, they would see 200 baddies in their whole life. And now it's like in their whole life. And now it's like they are desensitized to it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll have conversations with my guy friends where I need to check them, where I'm like, you need to check yourself. They'll be like, oh, well, her hair wasn't perfect, or she didn't have like veneers, so I just didn't. And I'm like, you are a 4 at best. Like, this is insane. You think that you have access. They're so delusional. They think that they can.
How the tables turn. It's because we do have access. Because you guys just throw it out like nothing. You guys are on Instagram with nothing but a thong on, so we know what everybody look like. Nobody hide nothing. Half y'all go outside, and when y'all go to them parties, your booty cheeks hanging out, hanging out your turtlenecks, which I'm gonna say. Do we have access? Yeah. Half of you ladies complain about the fact that y'all date deadbeat and broke. Half y'all talk about you date ain't shit niggas. Oh, you was stigmatized or whatever. Yeah, y'all give people access all the time.
I'll pause there very quickly. I don't want to break it up constantly, but I want to talk about their points as they bring it up so I don't forget. What they're saying here about these women is and they've said it, they just said it themselves. These women are putting themselves out there constantly. They're on Instagram. They're on these dating apps. They're taking fake photos. They're taking they're doing the AI filters. They do these very specific poses that make them look good. And then when you match on them with a dating app and they match with you, that's the clutch part. They're not matching. If a woman's a 7, she's not matching with another 7 or 6. She's matching with an 8. But she's calling them a 4.
Parties, your booty cheeks hanging out, your hanging out your turtlenecks, which I'm going to say. Do we have access? Yeah. Half of you ladies complain about the fact that y'all date deadbeat and broke. Half y'all talk about you date ain't shit niggas.
Okay, I had to bleep out a few words out of that because he was dropping N-words. And I'm not gonna play that on my channel because that's a fast way to get removed. What he's talking about is they're dating broke dudes. They're dating losers. They're dating what he calls ain't shit N-words. They're dating players. They're dating the players. They're dating the bad boys. So he's now recognizing women are going out there. They date the bad boys. They hook up with the bad boys. Then they get dumped and then they complain. That's what he's referencing. So far, he's referencing that they're basically 8s sleeping with, or they're 7s, whatever you want to call it. They're 7 and 8s sleeping with 7 and 8s, well, sleeping with 9s and 10s, and then wanting to date other 7 and 8s, and then saying they're being nice because they're actually 4s. So that's something we say. And then he says they're chasing the bad boys, hooking up with the bad boys, and then they're upset when they don't get asked out or don't get a boyfriend. This is red pill content.
Oh, you was stigmatized or whatever. Yeah, y'all give people access all the time. And also, like, being hot is no longer special because y'all have not made it special. Plastic surgeries, you guys have all figured out the Instagram looks. You guys all oversell how much you guys are good looking in pictures. And then we get in place and you guys like don't match it. So like the commodity of hotness is so accessible. I go on my phone, I see it every day. If I pay for $5, I see half of them naked if I want. So it's just like, I could get it for free all day long. Why would hotness be special? We've devalued things. Well, these ladies are arguing and they're getting mad because dudes don't value it anymore.
You have
What's he talking about there? He's talking about what we are constantly talking about. Women are over-sexualized. Women are sleeping around. Women have high body counts. Women don't look like they look like on their profiles. Then dudes are hooking up with them, and the guys are saying, you know something, either, yeah, I may have slept with you, but you're not as good looking as you were on your pictures, or I just don't really have that much interest in you because you put out on the first night or the second night or whatever. And your personality is horrible. So yeah, I'll sleep with you. I'm sleeping down with you, but you don't get to date me. You've got to be of higher standard, and that's not you.
Dudes don't value it anymore.
You have access. They're so delusional. They think that they can bag like these hot girls because there's so many hot girls on Instagram.
And then they do them dirty because you think you're going to get another batter, which it's like at one point we all start to even out, but also at the same time.
Okay, so first off, she said we were delusional for being able to bag them. Now she's saying, yeah, you guys did bag them, and then you try to upgrade to another. So what is it? Can we not get them, or can we get them? Even in the same video, she contradicts herself. First she said we're delusional. Then she said, no, you guys do bang them, but you do them dirty. Well, how do you think we even got to do them dirty? Because we've gotten a few of them.
What kind of man is going out there? And again, I'm not saying these women are all that in a bag of chips. What kind of guy is going out there and sleeping with those women? Is it really a 4? Like a normally adjusted, not crazy woman that's been sleeping with 10s 4? I mean, is he really a real 4? Is he really below average looking? No, he's a 7. And they're a 7. But they're so used to being turned out by 9s and 10s for weekend play fun that these women now think, well, I gave this guy a chance and I slept with him and he dumped me because he said he can do better. Who's she talking about? A 4? No. Where's my I don't think so?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, sir.
She's not talking about 4s. She's talking about 8s. She's talking about 8s. The 9s and 10s are sleeping with these women. And these women want to date those men, but they can't because those guys don't date anybody. So they lower their standards to an 8. And then they start dating and hooking up with an 8. But the 8 has other women he can sleep with. Now, he can sleep down with 7s and 6s, which are still better than average. But he also wants an 8 or a 9. So he's going to keep cycling through the women. And he's got a playbook full of women, because he's an upper percenter of man. And these women are mad about it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what this sounds like? This sounds like the delusional talk I hear red pillars. Oh, these women think because they're fucking hot, they're just gonna get shit in life and it's gonna be
And then they turn around and get shit.
Or they'll complain about these women and then Walter will get her pregnant. Just saying. So it's just like this sounds like the red pill energy. This is that same anger, okay? So I want y'all to look at these women with that same energy of like you guys look at the red pill.
It's not the red pill, it's the red tampon.
There you go.
That's far.
Yeah, I was gonna say pink pill, but red tampon.
No, that red, because if you don't take the pill, then you're on the tampon.
Got you.
This is my
What he's talking about is red pill rage. And he is right. It is a real thing. And yeah, guys really get angry and frustrated and absolutely lose their minds when it comes to yelling at women and saying women are all these awful things. And that's red pill rage. That's only the front loaded part of the red pill. That's like the dissolvable coating around red pill content. The real medicine, the real meds are inside. And once you get past that outside coating after you've taken the red pill and it dissolves, you discover, hey, there's a lot of good stuff on the inside. It's just that outside is just kind of worthless and hard, and it's just there to hold all the other content. So once you get past the angry point, you move beyond that. Now, these guys, I'm sure for clicks or for whatever, they enjoy kind of ragging on Fresh and Fit and red pill content. But without knowing it, this whole video is red pill. But they've associated it with a negative name and just one aspect of it, and they can't seem to let that go. Anyway, I'll let them continue.
No, that because if you don't take the pill, then you're on the tampon.
Got you.
This is my thing. I always say your resume is trash on paper and in real life.
Exactly.
Your resume is trash for you to be talking like this, sounding like this, and acting like you have so many options available to you.
No, it's crazy.
And right back to you went right back.
Oh my God!
You went from you don't have the options to you have them and then you them to right back to you ain't got no options. Wow, it's a double contradiction. It's crazy.
First of all,
This is the bad boy syndrome that this woman is talking about, is the bad boy. So she says, your resume is trash. In other words, he doesn't have a job. He doesn't have money. He doesn't have a nice car. He doesn't have a home. She says, your resume is trash. And then after we hook up, he wants to keep looking for somebody better. He wants to move on. Well, why can he move on? If he's trash across the board and he doesn't have a good job or all these things women supposedly desire, why is he able to hook up with them and then keep looking for somebody else and making these women so angry? It's because he's a bad boy. He's a good-looking bad boy. He's probably a 9 or a 10, maybe an 8.
Contradiction. It's crazy.
First of all, you can't look like that and have a trash resume and expect to bag a 10 every time. You're funny. You're not that funny.
Look how angry they are.
Yeah.
You know what this anger is? You know what I think this is? This is when you...
A tampon.
This is what happens. You know, like, oh, you think you can bang a 10? You know what this is? This is when you sleep with a hot girl, realize her personality is dog shit, so you leave her, and she's like, you ever think you're gonna get a bitch as hot as me? Fuck you. Loser. You got a little dick anyways. Yeah. It's just a bitch messaging you by herself. There's nobody else replying, just her in your chat, just leaving you. I'm never gonna call you again. Or you're not even gonna reply? You're a fucking coward. I've had that before.
Yes.
And it's just like, yo, ma, like, we went on 3 dates. I didn't even sleep with you. I just don't like you. They mad.
And I
because
I like you even less.
Here's what they say.
What
they said it's even more offensive because you're ugly.
Yes.
Right? So their ego can't take the fact that someone they perceive as being below them discarded them in a way. It's like we're not vibing.
They just don't like you. They don't like certain things about you. And you know what? It's okay. It will happen. Some people are not everybody's cup of tea. And even when you're a tea, well, some people don't even like tea. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you're not everybody's cup of tea.
So what I find interesting, and again, the concept is right. What they're saying is correct. They're talking about alpha widows here. They're talking about alpha widows. These are women that have gone out and you'll hear another segment that they play up and coming about a woman that's 35. What these women have done is they've gone out and they've slept with 9s and 10s over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. And then they say, I want a relationship. I'm tired of being turned out. I'm tired of being used. I'm tired of being played by these 9s and 10s because all they do is sleep with me and dump me and then move on. And I'm tired of that. I want a boyfriend. I want romance. I want him to take me to dinner. I want him to treat me well. I want to be treated like a lady. And so a guy says, okay, let's go out to dinner. And what she's talking about, she's a 7. She's used to getting turned out by 10s and 9s and 10s. And so she finally settles for an ugly guy. That guy's a 7. He's not a 4. He's a 7. She's a 7. They go on a couple of dates and he realizes, oh, you're a horrible person. You have a high body count. You are shallow. All you believe in is your looks. All you're doing is you're on your phone the entire time. You're not even paying attention to me. You're too worried about your Instagram photos.
And then when you are, that's what I'm saying. You're not gonna please everybody, okay?
Coconuts in Barbados. I had one girl, one of the funniest days. We went on this date.
Oh, what happened?
She just didn't look interested.
She didn't look interested?
Like, just the date was just dull as f. So halfway through the date, I'm like, yo, listen, I'll walk you back to the metro. And I got to the metro, I'm like, hey, listen, I had a good time, but I feel like we just don't have much chemistry. So
Was she hot?
Yeah. And she was kissed by fire.
She was kissed by fire?
Yeah, ginger.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the nerd version.
I thought you didn't like gingers.
I don't, but
You said you never seen
if the titty's racked enough, you know what I mean? We taking it off the shelf. So I seen the girl, I was like, yo, whatever, man. So as a tittyologist, I didn't discriminate. And we, at the end of the date, I was just like, I'm not feeling it. It's fine. The ugly girl and the hot girl could have a same.
Okay, I want to talk about that segment right there, and then we'll jump, because I did an edit and just edited more of the stuff out. What is he talking about here? Look at his face when Preach asked him, was he hot? Was she hot? Watch his face.
I feel like we just don't have much chemistry. So
Was she hot?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, she was hot. What is he talking about? She had a slamming body, and her face was probably slightly better than mid. It was a 6. She was a 6 with a nice body. That's the look on his face. You guys, if you ask a buddy, hey man, is she hot? And he goes, yeah. He had to think about it. And what ran through his mind is butterface. Her body's a 10, but her face is a 6. And that's what he just did. And so he asked her out, and even Preach says, I thought you weren't into jitters. He said, I thought you weren't into gingers. And he's like, I'm really not, but them titties though. That's a butterface. So if this woman saw Abba, I hope I'm getting these names right. I'm looking at chat here. I'm probably getting them all backwards. I think he's Abba. Anyway, if a woman looks at Abba and she says, he's an 8 or he's a 7, she's saying he's kind of ugly because he's not the 9s and 10s I've been sleeping with. Right? So he's kind of ugly. But he seems nice. He's really friendly. And I'd like to get a boyfriend at some point. So, and he is dating down in his mind. That's the irony of this. He's dating down. He says, she's pretty. Not her face, but her body. And he probably wanted to get the hookup, get a couple dates in and sleep with her. That's what all these dudes are doing. All these guys are saying she's not girlfriend material. I don't even think she's specifically that good looking. She's okay. I mean, she's all right. But that body though. And because I want to sleep with her, he's thinking 6 face, 10 body, 9 body. I'll hook up with that. That's what all these 9s and 10 dudes are doing. And I'm not saying he's a 9 or a 10. All guys are sleeping down like that. That's why a lot of women, what we might call aggressively mid women, which is a woman that's like a 5 or very much 5 or 6. One that you look at her face and you go, nah, she's pretty average. But she goes to the gym, or she's got those, like he said earlier, those cakes hanging out the bottom of the dress. And you look at that and you say, I'd tap that. Like her face is aggressively mid, but for one night, if she's got a slamming body, bro, I'd like to see her undressed on top of me. You know what I'm saying? I will sleep with her. Well, that's how 5s get addicted to being with 7s and 8s. That's how 7s and 8s get hooked on being with 9 and 10 dudes, because dudes go out there and sleep down. And that's what exactly he did. He went on a date to see if he could maybe make something happen. And she was so annoying that he's like, nah, I'm going to tap out. Like, I'm not even into it.
So as a tittyologist, I didn't discriminate. And at the end of the date, I was just like, I'm not feeling it. It's fine. The ugly girl and the hot girl could have a same level of personality, same level of, make you feel loved and whatever. So at the end of the day, beyond the hotness itself and the aesthetic of the pleasing and the social aspect, it don't really have the value that we put on it. You know what I mean? A mid girl who works out and takes care of herself oftentimes will probably make you feel just as good, if not better, in most of your day-to-day life as a really hot woman.
The 25 to 30-year-old guys, I'm almost 36. Yeah. Those guys are excited to go out with me. They will plan the date. They will go the extra mile, and they have this young, fun, they want to impress me. It's the guys who are my age and older that feel kind of jaded. Like they're just like, yeah, let's go on a walk. Fuck your walk, man.
Yeah, because they're dead inside. You know how much, when you approach a girl, she's like, ugh, what? That's the same feeling. These guys, they've been around and they've been disappointed, and they're like, oh, what is it? She said, these guys are excited. They're planning. All the burden is on them. You're just, so what we're doing. So all the burden, after so many years of the burden being on you and getting rejected and shit is not working, and why am I doing this still? What we see out.
Okay, that part right here that he said, right? He said, why are we doing this stuff? How many times do we say it, right? Young guys go out there, they put in the effort, they try. And let's be honest, a younger man, let me see, what time stamp am I? 525. If we go back to this woman and let's look at her, okay? She's not bad looking. For 36, she's not bad looking. She's 36. She's out of eggs. A man doesn't want this a man's not going to marry her for children and for a family. She's out of eggs. And a guy around her age doesn't want to put any effort in because over the years, he has put in effort over and over and over again. And it's expensive. And he pays a lot of money for these dates. He puts a lot of effort into it. And he realizes, oh, it was just a foodie call. Or, oh, she's annoying. Or, oh, another woman that's like this. Or she's got a high body count. Or she's got baggage. What he's talking about is MGTOW, guys going their own way. He's talking about the 35-year-old guy that's her age that says, hey, do you want to go out for a coffee or do you want to go for a walk? And she's like, ew. Well, why is that guy going to put in effort anymore after he's been burnt time after time after time? Now, he's not going to, a woman that kind of falls in his lap, he'll say, yeah, if you want to hang out, let's go get a coffee or go for a walk. Why does she use that reference? Because he doesn't put in the time and he's willing to meet and get to know her, but he's not spending the money. He's not going out and getting the fancy dates and spending all this money on to get to know to a woman because the young guy doesn't know he's getting played, that he's wasting his time. The older guys do. And those guys are not putting effort into a 36-year-old woman. Those guys are putting effort into 23-year-old women. And that's what's got her so upset. But again, Preach is just like those guys are burnt out. Those guys have done it. They've been there. They've seen it. They're out.
These guys are excited. They're planning. All the burden is on them. You're just, so what we're doing. So all the burden, after so many years of the burden being on you and getting rejected and shit is not working, and why am I doing this still? What we see out.
That's juice isn't worth the squeeze. That's guys going their own way. Why am I doing this stuff? He's talking about the juice isn't worth the squeeze. He keeps talking about all these ideas that have been prevalent in the men's sphere for years. He makes fun of red pill guys, and then he turns around and he's basically repeating what we say, just in different words with different terminology.
Out there is that you guys want to date this same kind of dude. You got the tears right there, and y'all mostly want to date this right here, right? And y'all.
I did not put that chart in there when I edited this, by the way. This is their video. This is on Abba and Preach's video. They inserted this picture. They wanted to say, what's an image that shows all the women chasing after the top men? They pulled up the same image we've been using for a decade now. Yet they're going to make fun of red pill. My dude, you're describing hypergamy. You're describing what we've been describing forever. They turn around, make fun of us, and then they say, what is it called when all the women are chasing the top men? My dude, you're right there. You're so close. You're so close. Abba and Preach are actually red pill. They just associate that with people they don't like. They associate that with people that maybe go over the top or are aggressively angry or maybe do even hate women a little bit. They just don't realize it, that they're actually red pill. They're red pill content creators. They just don't know it.
Want to date this same kind of dude. You got the tears right there, and y'all mostly want to date this right here, right? And y'all think you can have that. Oh my God, he has to do 6-7 figures. Ooh, a bus drive, a truck drive. It's the same thing.
Me, when I just hear these two talk and the anger they do it with, it's just like, you got rejected by a dude who you thought was beneath you, and that shit just stung.
I've heard that a number of times where girls said, oh my God, he rejected me, and the worst thing is that he was ugly. Like I've heard that so many times. I've heard that discourse a lot of times.
And they're not ugly. That's the end of their clip. I'd love to talk to him. Maybe I'll drop him a line a little bit and say, hey, do you want to talk to a different type of content creator that covers this? But he's and in the end here, when he says, I hear women all the time saying, oh, well, these guys are ugly, and they're ugly guys. These are women that are 7s that should be dating a 7. They could get a marriage. They could get a boyfriend that's a 7, but they're so used to sleeping with 9s and 10s that a 7 they think is a 4 in relation to them. That's hypergamy. That's alpha widow. That's all the terms that we've used for years and years of women that have ruined themselves by turning themselves out on these 9s and 10s, never to have them as a boyfriend, only to sleep with them and then be passed on to the next one and the next one and the next one. And then the women are getting angry because they're getting passed over because that dude has a harem, literally a stable of women, and he just goes to the next, to the next, to the next. And these women in the beginning, these women here that say these losers, these guys that are that are 4s, we give them the opportunity, they sleep with us, and then they think they can do better. Well, they're not 4s, they're 9s. But on paper, other than their looks, they're 4s. Other than their looks, they're 4s. So when these women say, oh, these guys are so ugly, these women are not sleeping with ugly men as far as their looks go. They're sleeping with good-looking, athletic, tall men that maybe they think they're calling them ugly because maybe they're ugly on inside. Maybe they just use these women and move on because they've got other choices. Maybe these guys didn't have great jobs. It's because these women say, well, they're not all the 6s. These guys don't have all the 6s, but they're super good looking and they're tall. Maybe they're athletic and they're broke, but I'm going to give him a chance because I want to sleep with him because he's good looking. And they get turned out and they get angry. All of this was proven in Abba and Preach's video. I think that's ironic. I think it's funny. But once again, as always, thank you, gentlemen, for proving our point, even though you supposedly hate us.